Hey everyone, Joe Manure here. Welcome back to this video where we are designing this Lotus Yoga app. And what have we accomplished so far? Well, let's take a look over at the actual app itself. We've got a little bit of it done on the home page. We've got a top slider here that is not yet clickable, but basically, we're roughing things in. And that's what we got so far. And in this video, if you've been following along, you know exactly what's next. And if you're just visiting for the first time, welcome. Um, we're here designing this Lotus Yoga app using a no-code tool called Bubble, which is a fantastic tool that allows us to build apps without needing to code. Mobile apps as well. So let's dive in to how we're going to build out these bottom rows. Now, if you recall, when we filled out the database, I only went with 3 groups. If you could just build a 4th group and add some additional pictures and classes, add some more additional yoga classes into the database if you so desired to make 4 rows, 5 rows, 6 rows. However, for today's purpose, we'll be good with just the 3. So the first thing we need to do is actually hide this home group. We need a little bit more space to work with. So I'm going to give us another 200 pixels. Take this floating menu, also give that 200 pixels. And then let's see about our home group. Yep, we're giving everything 200 pixels. Cool. So we're going to grab another repeating group, plop it onto the page, just kind of take a look at what we got here. We know that this one's a little bit smaller, so we'll nudge it over to the side here. What do we got for spacing? This one starts at 107. Let's give that 110. So then we've got 110 plus the height of 280. That's 390. We want from 390, let's try 20 pixels of space between these. And what type of content? Well, it's going to be these yoga bundles. So what we're going to do here is we're going to create this full list, this repeating group that's going to be a full list of all the bundles. And if you remember, so what we'll have this group that will repeat the bundles down from like row after row after row, and then we'll grab another repeating group, and then that'll repeat things to the side. So it'll be kind of cool. I wanted to show this off. Of course, you could just build what we have here, a more miniature, building groups, a more miniature version of this one, and that would work just fine with the same setup where we're getting this this bundle number. This bundle number 1, and we could do that for 2, and we could work with something like that. But this is kind of a cool method to know for working in Bubble. So what do we want to find? We want to find some bundles, because that's what we'll have, and we want those bundles where the bundle not equal to, it's actually greater than or equal to 2. So if you recall, in our database, we've got these bundle numbers. So that means we won't have this first bundle. We'll just have these ones, which is exactly what we want. This is basically how we play air traffic control of what goes where. So what's happening again, just to recap, I know this, especially if you're new and you also have a curiosity where you just want to be like, what's going on? I want to know. You can think about this way. We've got this big group that's going to repeat downwards. It's a vertical repeating group. It's going to go out. It's going to look for bundles. That's the type of content. It's going to search for those bundles where that bundle number is greater than 2. And it's going to go all the way to infinity, but our database stops at 4. So but you could actually add another constraint here and say, yeah, we'll actually do this. We'll do less than or equal to 3 for now. We'll just display 2 of these, and then we'll get and then I'll come back and change this so we can just show off the functionality, so you guys can kind of just see it working in action. Cool. So now we're going to add another repeating group, and I'm going to take this one to the top edge. And what do we got here? I think we're going to go like 280 wide, and it's going to be horizontal scrolling, no separator. And let's see, I think we actually want these the same width. See how this works out, because we'll make the images slightly smaller to give some spacing between things. Well, we got a height of, let's go 240. Let's see, yeah, that looks pretty good for comfortable spacing on this page. And this height will also we'll go to 220, just so we can kind of click back and forth. That's all this space is for, is just to be able to click between these elements. For now, we could always change it. I'm going to name this one so we don't get confused. This is the horizontal repeating group. This is the vertical repeating group. Great. So our vertical repeating group has some bundles, and of those bundles, we want to be working with classes. And what classes do we want? We want the current cells bundles class list. So if you remember in our database, when we created the bundles, we added these in a previous video one by one. We're like, okay, bundle 1, put in further vinyasa. Bundle 1, put in flow into splits. So we assigned all these classes to the bundles. So now in our working model over here of these repeating groups, I keep navigating, difficult today. We told it to look for bundles 2, 3, and 4, actually just 2 and 3 to start. And then within those, we've got these classes we've assigned. So when we think about what we should see here, we should expect to see Go Vertical and then Beach Yoga in our design when we load up the page. Now, we could load it up, but we're not going to see anything. We actually need to get some things to display. So let's do that. An image. And we're going to put this one at 20. 0. What do we got for the width here? 280. So to get 20 on each side is 240. And bring that down a bit. Yeah, that looks fine. All right, so this image, what should it display? Well, it should show us whatever this current cell is, that class is, whichever class that is in our current cell. We want to show the thumb photo. Show that stretched, and then we want to just grab this actually. Okay, let me do this. Let me grab all of it. This one, and this one, and this one. Drag it down. I think this shows up in this group now. Roughly, it looks like it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make all of these, let's go with 40 smaller. Send it back. Pull these down a touch. All right, so it looks like our photo needs to be a little bit smaller. And current cells yoga class title, that should just straight up work. The difficulty level in the class category. Yes, bring to front, bring to front. Let's see if we can find out. Yeah, whatever. Everything looks pretty close. Let's just take a look at how we're doing. So again, what we should expect is that go vertical and the beach yoga ones to show up in 2 cells. Cool. Yeah. And slightly smaller. But we did not add yet this image. We're going to change the style. Define borders independently. Top left, 10. Top right, 10 for the roundness. And we're off just a touch on. So what do we got? We got 220 and 20. Okay. So nudge that. And you know what? We're going to want this to be slightly smaller. So that way we can just center these horizontally. Center horizontally. Not sure, it's some kind of bug, maybe why these are not showing. I've left a tab open, sent the computer to sleep, brought it back. Crazy things happen. Okay. So what are we looking to have roughly? Yeah, this. No, wait. We want to view with this. Okay, so it actually only shows the first row. Is that what we see here? Ah, awfully close. Okay, so there's a little bit of gap here. We've got some things to work with. So what we're going to want to do is bring this one over, yeah, the same amount to 300. Just so we're dealing with the same margins here. Also, let's see. Let me think for a second. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. There is a little trick. Props to the folks over at Build Camp. They had a really great video that gave me some tips on a few things. And one of them is this right here, where if we jump to the responsive area, take a look at our home group. Oh, where'd we go? And this repeating group, we're going to collapse the margins. And what that will do, if we take a look over here, notice this little space on the right-hand side. Should make it go away. And yeah, cool. And then for this one, we actually have to do another little trick that I was able to figure out, that we have to wrap this one in a group. So let me see if I can get this right. I want this group. Yeah, perfect. So we're at 340, 300, 240. 300, 240. Send it to the back. And then we're just going to nudge this. And an important point, when you have things that we just kind of broke this parent groups thing. When you have data that's on one of these, like it's on the element or it's in the element, which in this case was the horizontal repeating group, was referencing the vertical repeating groups, but now there's like something in between there, this white group. So what we have to do is we have to take this one and just pass some data around. So we'll say the bundle and the current cells yoga bundle. And so what we've done is we've taken the data from the, you don't have to know, super into this, but my goal is to give as much knowledge as possible in these videos. And, as you work with Bubble, feel free to just follow exactly what the steps are here. So to reiterate, we just made this group type bundle, said the current cells you'll grab bundle, and then so that passed the data up from the vertical repeating group into this group, and then now that same bundle, when we reference this parent group, we're actually talking about this group. And why did we do all of that stuff? Well, it was necessary in order to do this right here that we're going to do now, is when we go to the responsive area and we grab this group, this, so when I grab this horizontal, the one that's going to go side to side, this collapse margin attribute entry is not available unless you put it into this group. So an important point to note when designing these style of slidey things. And then we're just gonna give this group no background, and we're gonna see our progress. And that should give us a great looking thing. Okay. So what's going on? Do we also have to do that for... I think also for... we got... this is the horizontal repeating group. I'm trying to find the vertical repeating group. Let's do it by this. Horizontal, just search vertical repeating group. Okay. Vertical. Great. So that exposes this. We'll also drop in collapse margin, instruction, and that should give us that nice edge on all of them. So cool. We're overcoming UI fixes. We're rocking it with the data here, and we've got one more thing to do, and that is these bundles that are in this vertical repeating group. We're going to just take, well, I'll show you. We could put it at 4, and that'll, obviously bring us up to 4. You could also just leave that off because our database, like we said before, it only has 4 bundles, so it'll automatically go up to that and stop. But good to know, right? Like, good to know this is how you play air traffic controller in Bubble. And yeah, so, and then let's take a look at that on a couple different phones. Oh, we might have to make this one a touch smaller if we want to, touch like 20 pixels to the right if we want to see the leading edge of that for that one. But basically, yeah, we've got something that's looking pretty good. There's a little bit of a space here at the bottom. We could do one final thing, and that is we could bring this up a little bit. But you know what? I'm going to call it good here. We'll worry about some of these small fixes for spacing. What I really wanted to accomplish in this video is showing out how to do the layout here of the home page. And then in our next video, we will show building what happens when you click one of these, and how do you get to that pop-up, which gets you the actual video so you can take the course from the home page. Thanks for joining. It's been great having you here, and feel free to like the video if you found this helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.